Hello, everyone. My name is Shah. I'm the Chief Technology Officer here at Village Core. You can find this recording as well as all our other events at our YouTube channel at Village Core, as well as our website, villagecore.org. And today we have Kenneth Bechtel, our from the Village Core team. He's the Chief Financial Officer, and he's here to talk about a year-long vacation.
Hi, Shaw. Good to be here.
Good to have you here. So, Ken, what inspired you to embark on a year-long vacation? And were there any
Well,
specific events or moments that led you to take this journey?
Shaw, I've always had a wanderlust. I've always enjoyed traveling and experiencing different cultures and seeing the sights, around the world. I always enjoyed that. So that inspires me. That innate curiosity to see things and see how things work and how other people live. And things just fell into place as far as the timing goes. I had a break in my career, my job, and it's just a nice time to go and see the world. Take some time out before I can't get around much anymore.
Nice. And then how do you think having an extended period of time will affect the way you experience and immerse yourself in different cultures?
Well, it'll give me a lot more time rather than just have a week or 10 days or maybe 2 weeks, as is typical. People go maybe on a vacation for that length of time. This gives me a lot more time to immerse myself in the cultures of different places I'm going to go. Also, I can get off the beaten path. Not just go to the maybe the trendy places or the capitals, but to get away from the bigger cities and see some of the sites outside of the normal uh, areas where tourists go.
Right. And I can imagine budgeting for a year-long trip can be quite a task. So can you share a bit about how you approach the setting of your budget to ensure financial sustainability throughout the journey?
Yeah, that's very important to determine a budget. So that's one of the first things that I did is that I said, okay, I have this much money I'd like to set aside for traveling, and that was my total budget. And then I started filling in the spaces. Okay, how much is this part of the trip going to cost me, and so on and so forth. And then I can plan accordingly and spend accordingly with how much money I've budgeted. So far, I've stayed within the budget and I've booked most of my trip, and it looks like I'm going to stay within budget. So that's exciting.
All right. And then how do you go about researching and discovering these hidden gems that might not be listed in typical travel guides?
That's a good question. I usually look on the web, and I look at some of the popular travel sites like not Travelocity. I'm trying to think of the name of the website I look at, but they have maybe the best places to see. Let's, for example, say in and around Zurich, Switzerland, and so they list all these places that they recommend. So I start there, and then I delve a little deeper, maybe look at other websites that are just specific to those areas that I found. Then there's just so much information on the web that where people have already traveled and have fortunately shared their experiences and what to see and what not to see. And really been a good avenue for me as far as where I want to go because the places that are really worth seeing are outlined on the web pretty easily.
All right. And which places exactly are you planning on visiting?
Well, I don't think you have that much time on the interview to go into detail, but I'm going to start in Europe. I've been to Europe a few times and really enjoy the history and culture of that area. And so I'm going to start in Europe, and I'm allowed 90 days there as a U.S. citizen. And so I'm going to uh, at this time hit France again, but not only Paris, but some of the countryside throughout the country there. I mentioned, Switzerland and Austria. I'm going to go there, Germany, Italy, and make my way up through to Prague, and then Belgium and the Netherlands. Also, I'm going to spend some time in the UK. Now, UK, they exited from the Eurozone, so I don't, the 90-day restriction doesn't apply there. So that's nice, where I can spend some time still in Europe, but it doesn't, the 90-day clock doesn't start ticking until I get to continental Europe and spend some time there. So that's where I'm starting for the first 3 months or so.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned the UK. So how'd you navigate the legal aspect of your trip, especially considering changes like the UK's exit from the European Union?
Yeah, it's pretty simple. I mean, you just need a passport, and you don't need a visa yet. Next year, 2024, you'll need a visa to enter Europe. But now it's visa free for 90 days as a tourist to hop around Europe, which is nice. Uh, and then the UK, you don't need a special visa yet either. You're allowed up to 6 months, is the last time I checked with the State Department, that U.S. citizens can spend up to 6 months in the UK. I'm not going to spend that much time, just a island, right? So just going to spend a little time in UK, probably I think a week or so, week and a half, because I'm going to go to Scotland as well, and then run out my 90 days in Europe and go from there.
Wow. All right. And then, so your itinerary, it involves multiple regions, from Europe to Australia. How do you anticipate the cultural transitions and adjustments as you move from one continent to another?
Well, as I've traveled before, as I mentioned, I've traveled a lot before, and I found that we're all human beings, and we all have certain things we have in common. Uh, but and a lot of people speak English, which is nice. I do try to learn some of the languages of the places I go, and just the basics anyway, just out of respect. But um, as far as the traditions, the culture, it's really people are really friendly to tourists for the most part. I mean, some of the really traveled areas, high tourist areas, maybe not so much. But again, I'm going to be off the beaten path, and so it's been pretty easy for me. And I mean, I like people. I like meeting people. Rarely find any problems with people not being friendly, or you get one, here and there, but it's rare.
All right. And what kind of transportation, options are you gonna explore to move around?
Yeah, yeah, good question. I plan on, of course, flying to Europe, and then once I get there, I'm going to use their train system. They have a great train system in Europe, uh, from London to Paris, and then from there, I think I'm going to fly again into back up to Scotland, and then fly back to Naples, Italy. And then once I'm in Naples, I'm going to just I'm not going to be flying for quite a while. I can take trains everywhere, boats, and then also I'm planning on renting a car. I have an international driver's license, so I'm going to rent a car outside of Rome and drive around Tuscany for a week or so, and then it's back on the trains again.
Wow. And then how did you go about booking your flights? Were there any specific places that you were looking at?
I like to start with Google Flights and see all the different airlines they're flying from, a place that I'm interested in. And usually, they give you 3 to 6, different airlines depending on, the airport and where you are. But that's a good place for me to start. I like to see what airlines are flying where, and see what, times are being offered, because I don't like to leave, in the middle of the night or real early in the morning if I don't have to. And then I look to see what airlines are offering which flights. Then I go directly to the airline websites and look at their prices. I like booking directly, with the airlines rather than like a booking.com, or one of those third party websites. I like going directly to the airline, because or to the hotel, because if there's a problem, if there's a cancellation, or if there is a delay, or if the hotel's overbooked, if you're with those third party websites, it's a little more difficult than if you book directly with the airline or the hotel itself.
Got it. And then you mentioned hotels. Are hotels the only places you're planning on staying as you're traveling?
No, also going to use Airbnbs. I really like looking for nice Airbnbs. I've had really good luck with them, and staying at the host's house. It's been really nice. So it's probably I'd say 50-50 Airbnb and hotel, I would say. And then there's Verbo as well. I've booked a couple places on that side as well.
All right. And then how do you go about deciding which type of lodging to choose in each location? And then do you have any specific criteria that guide these decisions?
Well, if I'm only spending a few days, I prefer a hotel. 2 or 3 days, and just easy to get in and out of hotel. If I'm staying a place longer than that, 4 or 5 days to a week, I like to use an Airbnb. Just a lot more comfortable because they're bigger. You can unpack, and usually they have a washing machine, in them. You can do your laundry, and I like Airbnbs again because you get to know the culture better. I think of the certain city that or place that you're in.
All right. And I think earlier you mentioned ships. Were you referring to cruise lines, cruise ships?
Yeah, part of my vacation, I'm gonna take a cruise. So
Okay.
after Europe, I'm planning to go to Australia for 2 weeks, and then to Singapore, and then that's where I'm gonna hop on a cruise ship. I used to work for Holland America Line a long time ago, and I really enjoy that cruise line. So I'm going to go through Asia on a cruise ship and see a lot of Asia that way. So I'm looking forward to doing that. It's just nice and relaxing. Again, you only unpack once, so that's nice. And then the cruise ship takes you everywhere, and then you can see the sights from the cruise ship.
Oh, wow. That sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'm looking forward
Um,
to it.
and then what do you look forward to the most about the cruise?
What do I look forward to most about the cruise? There's so many things to look forward to. Uh, this on this cruise, I found a really good deal on a veranda cabin. So the cabin has a nice, deck that you can go out on, and from your room, a private veranda, and I'm looking forward to that. I've been able to cruise before with a veranda, and I told myself I'm only going to cruise again if I have a veranda cabin where you can get outside and really enjoy the sights. So I'm looking forward to that. A nice cabin, of course, the food that's always good on a cruise. And then I guess the most thing I'm looking forward to is the ports of call and seeing all these different ports in Asia. That's going to be fun. We start from Singapore. We go to Thailand, Cambodia, Vietnam, Hong Kong, Japan, Shanghai, South Korea, and maybe a couple other places. But I'm really looking forward to that, seeing those sites.
Wow. And then what aspects of your previous experience influenced your choice of cruise line and your approach to planning the cruise portion of your trip?
Well, I have always preferred Holland America Line. I've done so many cruises around the world with them. I've done a couple of Europe cruises, Mediterranean cruises, several Caribbean cruises back in the day when I could just hop on a cruise ship and sail around the Caribbean. Done Panama Canal, all on Holland America. So I'm kind of partial to them, and so that is the cruise line that I knew I wanted to be on. And then I stumbled on they had a perfect cruise around Asia that I found on one of their ships, and that's I said I'm going to book that one, and I did. So I'm looking forward to it.
All right. And then as someone who's explored diverse travel options, from, traditional tourist sites to hidden gems, what advice would you give to individuals seeking to plan their own extended vacations, considering both the practical and experiential aspects?
Well, that's a big question. Let's see if I can answer that. Well, we
Right.
talked about, first of all, establishing a budget, that's really important. And then I'm fortunate enough that the time is not a factor for me, but for some people it is, that they have, certain time that they have to use. But I'm kind of open-ended right now, so I'm going to take advantage of that. as far as everyone's different, and whatever interests you, that's probably what will drive you to a certain area in Europe or Asia or what have you. I'm really interested in history, so that's why I like Europe so much. The European history, the Roman history. That's really something that I enjoy and I'm very curious about, and I really like to see, exactly where things have happened and when, and that's really really important to me. For some people, it might be something else. Probably the second factor that really drives me is getting to know people and the culture. Right? That's really important to me, not just to see the typical tourist site, but to get away from that and see, really how people live each and every day, and what people are like, and to meet a lot of people. That's been a lot of fun for me over the years. Hopefully, I answered your
Um,
question.
yes. So I can imagine that, returning to mainland after such a rich and diverse journey will likely be a significant transition. So how do you foresee integrating these lessons and experience from your year-long adventure into your life back home?
The that's open-ended. I'm not sure yet. I don't have a foolproof plan. There's also the option of maybe living in Europe if I really like a certain place, and if I can get the correct visa, and if they're open, I might spend even more time there after it all ends. I don't know. So that's part of the reason for traveling, and is to getting to know different cultures and different people, and if I really like something, I might explore it a little further. Um, but otherwise, other than mainland, if I stay here, I'll be looking for a place to stay and a place to work. So be ready. I have your phone number.
All right. And then lastly, travel often, brings unexpected challenges and surprises. So could you share a memorable moment from your previous travels that taught you a valuable lesson or shifted your perspective in some way?
Well, when I first went to Europe quite a while ago, that really changed my outlook on the world. Because I was from a small town and didn't have a lot of experience, outside of my town or outside my state, let alone the world out there. And once I first went to Europe, it really opened my eyes to again history. It really turned me on to history and cultures, how people live, languages. After that, I took a language in college. So really, the traveling, I think, really enriches a person, and it really enriched my life, and really turned me on to, again, the history and the culture, and gave me a real curiosity to how people live out there.
All right. Well, I do hope that you have a lot of fun, a lot of good
Thanks.
experiences on this trip, and I wish you luck, Ken. Thank you so much for doing this interview with us.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. And again, this is Shaw. You can find this recording of this event at our YouTube channel at Village Core channel or our website, villagecore.org. And I'll see you guys next time.